Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Cantinho Benfiquista podcast 185. Showing Improvements is the title of today's podcast. As always, your host, I am Mike. I am joined by Bill, and Jason will be joining us shortly. Had some technical difficulties before coming on live. Bill, how are you?
Doing good. We're on a nice little roll, so can't really complain too much.
Yeah, it's three wins.
Change your pace
on the bounce. Yeah, bring a little bit of excitement to the conversation. We will today we will discuss Benfica's victory in Belgrade last week against Red Star. An opponent that's typically difficult for most. I think they had gone on something like an 18-match winning streak at home. Again, you can look at it from the perspective of the competitive nature of their league. Their last defeat at home in an official match was against Manchester City in the Champions League last year, in October of last year. So just about a year ago. Looking at Manchester City's lineup that game, it was match day 6. They made quite a few modifications in their 11. So you can use that as context in terms of the victory. How you'd like. We'll talk about Benfica's win yesterday at the Estádio Bessa against a Boavista side that is absolutely depleted. It's almost as if they're like a second division team at this point, with injuries and their inabilities to sign players for the last 4 transfer windows. So we'll talk about that as well. We'll look ahead to Gil Vicente at the weekend. Benfica takes on Gil Vicente at home. Another home match, which would be good. And before we get in too far, Jason. Well, first of all, let's welcome Jason. This is his first podcast. I can't even speak. First podcast as a married man. How does it feel?
Good. It's going good so far. Can't complain. I just came back from the honeymoon. Got back from the honeymoon on last Friday and getting back to the swing of things now at work and stuff. So, but we had a good couple of weeks. The wedding went well. Hopefully you had a good time. I know Bill couldn't make it, but
we did.
It was a special day for me and Steph. So
it was. We were happy to be a part of it. Hopefully you're refreshed and recharged, having spent some time on the beach with the wife, and we're happy to have you back. We will. What else we'll talk about? We'll talk about. We'll have a Bill and Jay don't know, but we'll do a blind ranking at the end. I didn't give them the names. I didn't tell them to prepare for it, so should be interesting. We'll play a little game with them. And as always, for those of you who are tuning in live, let us know your feedback, your thoughts, your comments, how you're feeling about the current moment of the team. Optimistic, still not convinced. Join the conversation. We want to make it interactive. Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, share, everything social media platform. We appreciate all of your support there. And if you're listening after the fact or watching after the fact, leave us your comments. We always respond back to them either way. Mikey, welcome back. #LageBall. He texted me yesterday talking about Kokshu. So I'm sure he's got plenty to say. Cesar, how are you? Cesar Ruimar says Jay has lost his freedom. Welcome back.
I lost him before the
wedding. Haven't we all? All right, let's dive in. So Benfica goes to Serbia. Bruno Lage's second game in charge. I don't know if you guys remember his first European match with Benfica. He went to Galatasaray. I believe it was Galatasaray, and he rotated and took a bunch of young players many years ago in his first passage with the club. And people were like, what the hell is he doing? Why is he taking so many young players? And we ended up pulling out a win. I can't remember what the hell his name is. He scored a banger from distance, young kid from the Seychelles. But he goes back on the road in Europe as Bruno Lage version 2.0, taking on Red Star Belgrade. He Jetson. Goes, I don't think it was Jetson. I can't remember. Maybe it was him. Bill, maybe you can look it up, or while I'm talking, I know it was a
Yeah,
young kid.
I'll
I
check.
could see the goal in my head. Like I could play it in my head. I remember exactly how it happened. I just can't remember who it was. He starts with Trubin, Ba Antonio Silva, Otamendi, Carreras, Aktürkoğlu, Kokshu, Rollheiser, Florentino Di Maria, and Pavlidis. I know, Jay, you were in and out of the stream trying to catch it while you were on vacation, and it sounds like the Wi-Fi or signal down there was worse than a 56K modem, so it was tough rolling back the clock. Bill, what were your thoughts on this game? Second game in charge, a little bit more difficulty in comparison to the first, but what were your initial thoughts here?
I mean, initially with the lineup, I wasn't surprised, right? I think we touched on it at the end of last podcast. We didn't expect many changes given the schedule with games and being able to train and travel. And again, we saw it over the weekend too against Boavista or on Monday against Boavista, where don't really change much because you don't have time to look at new things and implement new things. So I wasn't surprised with the lineup. We started well, right? I think we can all agree, like right off the front, we were up for it. I thought we were going to sit back a little more and be a little more cautious, but we came out, I wouldn't say guns blazing, but we came out pressing, playing well. We didn't sit back. We took control of the game. And I mean, those 2 goals, Turkish connection right there. Can't really complain with those guys right now because they're flying high. One thing I didn't like was I feel like tail end of the first half and then the second half was just, we took our foot off the gas. We couldn't really get control of it. I know it's a 2-goal lead and we can relax a little bit, but a game like that, I know we're away, but I don't think we should be taking our foot off that much and sitting deep. Because that second half, we just sat deep. Like we just dropped deep and we couldn't, from that point on, we couldn't control the game. We couldn't keep possession. When we tried, it was rough. I know the last few minutes at the end, we kind of controlled it a little bit, but it was still, I felt like we could have given
I
how
was
our
still biting my nails at the end of the game. I was
Yeah,
like
I mean-
scared that we were going to give up another stupid goal or something.
Yeah, and I know Oscar touched on it. Like, yeah, they had a ton of possession, but they didn't really create much. And I agree, they didn't. But the fact that they had the possession and we allowed them to have it was what was frustrating, right? Like we sat back, like at that, like it felt like, kind of felt like last year with Roger when we got a lead, right? It felt like we got the lead. All right, we're good. Now let's just sit back and kind of play out the game. Whereas I feel like the roster we have and the players we have and the caliber of players, we have the talent. Like there's very few places, there's certain places, yeah, against the City or Real, you're going to have to do that. But against a Red Star, right? Yep, it's away, but we should be able to sit and control the game and not have to drop that far deep and concede a late goal like that when then it leaves us freaking buttholes clenched for the last few minutes, right? Like, and again, the goal was sloppy, went in, but it's our fault. Like
we blame Otamendi on that goal.
Yeah, dude, I don't know where the hell he was going.
Yeah.
I mean, you take your pick. I mean, I would say Otamendi for the most part, but him and Tony clearly weren't on the same page.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just felt Otamendi.
Tony was further out. Otamendi should have stayed.
Yeah,
he went and tried to tackle, but he left the guy wide open 1-on-1.
Yeah, it was a disaster. But Otamendi had a couple moments even throughout the game where he looked like he was just completely lost as well.
Yeah.
Jay, what do you add to what Bill said and I guess in regard to what you were able to catch?
So I was able to catch the second half, and I think
you got the worst part of it.
I got the worst part. I did see the highlights on the first half. I like the play for the Kareem goal, where Di Maria and Ba kind of worked together on that sideline, and Kareem came in the second post and buried that goal. Koksu, who to me has been showing out.
Jay's back on the wagon.
I'm back on the wagon. I was a big hater on him last year. I just feel like he's finally found his footing this season, and that free kick was unreal. Perfect placement. Goalie had no shot, even if he tried. In my opinion, it was a phenomenal goal. And then other than that, in the first half, from what I saw from the highlights, there wasn't really much going on. I saw Trubin make a couple saves, but nothing too worrisome overall on that aspect. Second, I think Ba's injury was in the second half, wasn't it?
First.
Oh, still in the first.
It was, yeah.
That's when I started to watch it. I finally got a good stream, and I was like able to watch 10 minutes, and then it would freeze up, and me I had to refresh. So I was going through like a little hectic, but it sucks. I think that was like the only downfall of the game overall. His injury, his loss, his replacement, Cabaru. I think
Cabaret. Cabaret, yeah.
Cabaret.
Is it like Issa or something? Issa,
he really didn't impress me too much overall from what I've seen. The kid's young, he's raw.
Difficult circumstances to come in.
Yeah,
I will say
Champions League too. The kid has so many nerves. Yeah. Other than that, like we already touched base on Otamendi's error. In my opinion, it was Otamendi's error. I'm not going to pronounce this kid's name. Anduini, whatever. Houdini. I'm going to call him Houdini. Houdini hit with the shot off the post in the 90th minute. Other than that, the second half was kind of boring. Like Bill said, we sat back, which sucks to me. I don't like having Benfica playing that way, especially like Bill said, against a team like that. I thought we should have had more possession. We just played for the result, and I hate when Benfica plays like that. So, overall, I'm still happy. We left with 3 points, got the W, got some extra cash in our pocket because we have a couple big ones coming up. So it was good to get the 3 points on the board.
Yeah, I think just to add to what you guys said, right, when we look at the context of everything, right, like, as I said at the beginning, right, Red Star Belgrade isn't a top-notch adversary when it comes to European football, right? They have history, right, but history doesn't play today, right? History doesn't play on the field.
Did they win one?
They won. They won a
European commentary.
Cup. Yeah.
They won.
Yeah.
Way better
yeah. So I mean, in terms of the atmosphere in their stadium, it's probably one of the most hostile there is when it comes to European football. That's without a doubt. I think, as we had spoken about in the podcast previously, this is a team, of the 8 matches that Benfica has to play, this is one of those that you have to win, right? This is just one of those games where if you really want to cement yourself and really want to get out of the gate in a positive way, this, you got a game that you have to win. Yes, playing it away made it a little bit tougher, but again, when you look at the opposition on paper, this is one that you had to win. And we did that, right? And I said at the podcast last week where I felt that Benfica was going to come out and try to impose themselves and control the game. I didn't think they were going to go guns blazing, but I thought that we were going to, keep the ball. I thought Red Star was going to be okay with giving us the ball and looking to hit us on the counterattack, and that seemed to be exactly what they did. And we got another guest here. Oscar got out of his old people meeting, so he's able to join us.
There he is.
Welcome, Oscar. So the first half performance I thought was really positive. I thought the team looked good. I thought we were pressing, as you guys said, combination play. I did feel like, and Mikey mentions it in the comments, and I guess I'll throw that question to Oscar since he just joined after I'm done. But I thought one of the difficulties that we had in that first half and even the start of the second half was that Rollheiser just was never able to get into the game. He struggled mightily. He was showing up in the right spots. He wasn't able to, speed up the game when he had the ball. His decision making in terms of, do we go forward? Do we keep it? Do we slow it down? Do we speed it up? He struggled mightily to do that and to really cement himself in that match. And I think that impacted us a little bit. I think up until Ba's injury, I thought we were always on top. And then when Ba came out, I think that's when things got a little bit difficult, right? He came out late in the first half. I think it was like the 37th or 39th minute. And then, right, we go into halftime. And then, like Bill said, right, and Jay is, right, this kid, Cabaret, comes in. He came in late to the team from the transfer window. He's had, very little time. There are other players who have had little time, but his little time has a little bit more impact because he's on the defensive end, right? Guys like Aktürkoğlu, Amdouni, those guys are on the offensive third. They have more freedom to be creative. They have more margin for error if they lose the ball, right? Where this kid comes in, and now it's like, we're in a hostile environment. We're in a Champions League match. Yes, we're up 2-0, right? He came in cold, right? He basically didn't really have much time to warm up either, right? And when you put all that together, I mean, he struggled mightily. I mean, there's no one that can say he didn't struggle. He just looked shot for confidence. He too struggled to make the right decisions. And then fortunately in the second half, Bruno Lage was able to move Di Maria to the other side and bring Aktürkoğlu to his side, which helped him defend, right? Because the kid is already struggling, and then he's getting caught in like 2v1s, 3v1s, and they knew that was their in, and they just kept playing that side, playing that side, playing that side. And then once Aktürkoğlu came over to that side, I think we got a little bit more balanced, and we were able to catch our breath a little bit. And then eventually he ended up making the subs late in the game. Just one more thought before I pass it to Bill or to Oscar is we were critical in the text messages about his delay in making changes, right? And just to make sure that we're all on the same page. So you have 5 substitutions, but you can only make them in 3 stoppages of the game. And Bruno Lage addressed that at the end of the game in the press conference, which was he made the sub for Ba, which was 1 stoppage. He then took out Rollheiser early in the second half, which is 2nd stoppage. And now he has 3 substitutions to make, but he only has 1 stoppage left. And I think what happened was, and he basically hinted that, he played with the fact that we were up 2-0, right? So he's like, all right, I can take a little bit more risk here. I can only stop the game once. If I stop it in the 65th minute and make 3 changes, could I really flip this thing on its head and make a bad decision? Or do I really kind of take my chance knowing that we have a 2-goal lead versus a 1-goal lead? I think if we're up by 1 goal, I think he makes the changes sooner. I think the fact that he was up 2-0, he played with that opportunity and said, okay, I'm going to hold on as long as I can. Aktürkoğlu coming over to the side balanced us out a little bit more, took a little bit of pressure off of us, and we're not, drinking from a fire hose anymore. Let me try to stretch it as much as I can. And then he ended up making the 3 changes. So I was critical. I can understand his explanation. I can appreciate his explanation. I think it makes a little bit more sense, again, because we're up 2-0 and he played with that in his advantage. And then, of course, we can see the goal and he ends up making the change. Someone else was actually supposed to come in, and then he ended up switching it. I think it was Barreiro, Amdouni, and I forgot who the other one that was supposed to come in. And then they changed it, and Bessa ended up coming in with Amdouni and Barreiro. But apart from that, I thought it was a solid first half. I think the injuries and the timing of them made things a little bit more difficult. Oscar, what were your thoughts on it? And Mikey asks, does anyone feel like he pulled Rollheiser too early?
All right. So I know you basically touched on everything I was going to say, because I didn't. You guys criticized Lage for the subs, late subs, and then I'm like, I agreed with you guys. I said, that makes sense that he should have made them earlier. The guys were tired. We were up 2-0. We could have put basically just held back. But then I watched the game again at night, because the first time I watched the game was during work, and I was in and out, kind of like just checking on my phone, listening to the relato. Watched the game at night, and Red Star really didn't create the chances that you got. We're not on our throats. Like, they were not creating chances like our goalies making save after save. Yeah, they had the possession towards the end of the game. The last 20 minutes they had possession, but they were really not being dangerous.
Correct. It was more the fact that we couldn't get out of our defensive 20 yards.
We couldn't get a hold of the game anymore.
Correct. But Trubin didn't make any saves.
So to me, is like, now does Lage make the other 3 subs that he has left, basically, but on one chance, on the 85th minute or on the 80th minute, on the 75th, and then the game is basically like it could go either way. But right now, we're like Mikey said, we're 2-goal lead. We are holding them not to create chances. So why change that? And I understand if that goal came in the 75th minute, guess what? Those 3 subs would come in the 76th minute. All right. So it's just he played with the result, and it makes sense now. I did not know that, and I agreed with you. I didn't either. I thought he could make those 3 subs, like different times, and he couldn't. So at that time, I have to agree with what he did. Game wise, you guys talked about, the first half we dominated. Second half we went up 2-0, and basically the game was to me was like over. They were not creating chances to win this game or to come back. And the goal they scored, if you guys watched the replay, Otamendi had a brain fart. Right?
We were talking about that before you got on. Was it Otamendi or Tony
He
Safal?
legit had a brain fart. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell? He's a fucking 33 years old veteran that played in Champions League most of his life, and he has a brain fart like that. I thought for like on the text message, I even texted.
You said Tony.
Thinking it's Antonio Silva because I saw it on the little phone. I saw the replay at night. As I thought Otamendi that did that stupid shit play.
Yeah.
They didn't create chances to even come back. If it wasn't for
that was their only chance.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it was a fine victory away. I thought it was going to be a hard game. It was a hard game. Could have been easier, yes, but I think we played fine for a first game away on the Champions League, which we haven't. No Portuguese team has won there in I don't know how many fucking years.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think overall, I think it is a big 3 points for us. Like I said, out of the gates, and we move on from that. I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on. Oh, Oscar, you didn't touch on the Rollheiser question for Mikey.
I thought he was playing fine. I'm a fan of Rollheiser. I am.
I am too. I just didn't think he was able.
I didn't
to
think he was
game.
playing well. He wasn't in that game at all.
I think he's a player that will come into himself. I think he's gonna be one of our studs. He's got the soccer look. Like you can tell when somebody walks into a field, you can tell this guy's got it. Like, and I think he's got that. Like, you could tell that Enzo came into Benfica. Like, that guy's got it, and I see that on Rollheiser. So hopefully it doesn't dismotivate him coming out the 56th minute and 60th minute early. We just have too many players that we need to get on the field.
I was just about to say, now with Freddie fully back, now it's going to be even harder.
Yeah, exactly. So
like he's not.
I think with time, Rollheiser will get his chances, and I think he'll be a stud for us.
I mean, he can also play on the wing, which helps.
Correct, but I think, like Oscar said, right, I think it's a matter of time, and I feel like we shouldn't also push it and expect that he's going to blow up. Right, like the Aktürkoğlu is a different scenario. Right? He's a little bit older. He's been in European football. Right, Rollheiser's first experience in Europe, and SLBS is not saying that Rollheiser and Pristiani are not good enough for the team, but they're not ready to be starters at this time. And I would agree with that. Right, Pristiani, I think we've talked about. Yeah. He looked good in the Eusebio Cup. He's had moments here and there, but he started at the beginning of the season, and he too struggled to impose himself and replicate what we saw in the Eusebio Cup. With that said, like Oscar said, I think you can tell that there's talent and quality there, right? I think it's just important for Benfica and fans to not basically throw them in the deep end and be like, go. And if you don't perform right now, we're going to shit on you, which leads me to my next question. A little bit different scenario, and I'll open it up to anyone who wants to jump in first, but there's been a lot of criticism of Cabore. Again, he struggled in that game, but when you contextualize it and think about everything that kind of plays into the environment that he walked into, are you guys in agreement with the criticism that he's getting at the moment, or not so much?
No, I mean, I'll start it off. I thought last season, Carreras didn't really step in right away either. You know what I mean? Like, this kid has been on the team for like less than a week or less than 2 weeks. I don't expect the world. I just thought that he had a shaky start. I think he's young. I think he'll develop by mid-season. He'll probably be give him a couple months, and he'll probably be 10 times better than he is right now.
I mean, he's also the type of player. He's an attacking, like outside back, right? Like, if you put any attacking-minded outside back in that type of environment, in that type of game where you come in and you're just defending the entire time, they're gonna. Like, it's going to stand out that you can't really defend in the type of player you are, right?
Yeah. Oscar, any?
Well, I like, again, like, it's the criticism that this kid is getting it's not justified. I don't think he committed the errors. Like, Otamendi made it a bigger error than he did, and Otamendi's not getting criticized. All right, Otamendi made a crucial error that resulted in a goal for the other team. This kid is getting criticized for having a shaky start. When you say shaky, didn't commit those fouls or errors that made the team score a goal. But nobody's criticized Otamendi for his errors.
Yeah, but like it goes with what you're saying, right? Otamendi's a vet, captain. He gets more leeway. The kid does one. He probably makes one little mistake and it's it. So at the end of the world. And I get it. But the thing is, you always, with youth guys, you have to expect that they're going to make some errors around the game. So, like, I wasn't expecting him to come in and be fucking Fabio Contrao, or you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm not expecting that type of play. I just wanted him. I thought instead of bringing him, I like Tomas Araujo, how he came in. Well, we can talk about the next game after, but like I felt like would have been a safer bet in my opinion.
Or Freddie. We know Freddie offers us guarantees on that spot. So
Facts, yeah.
So another thing is like we brought in a young kid to a hostile environment. I mean, Red Star Belgrade, that's a game where they're hostile, right? So this kid is obviously coming into this probably first Champions League game that he's played, right? If I'm not mistaken, that was his first Champions League game on a hostile field. Like, he had
played with Marseille in the Champions League.
Nervous. What's that?
He had played a couple games in Champions League with Marseille, but regardless, he played 4 games. It's not like he's a big experienced player in the Champions League. I don't agree with the criticism. I mean, we've seen him play less than 90 minutes. He came in late yesterday, and we'll touch on that, right? But he came in the 37th minute, right? So he played 50 something minutes, right? And again, contextualizing everything, I just hate the mindset of like, some fans are just so fast to like burn him, right? Like he sucks, he's terrible.
If it's a kid from the Seychelles, there's
more leeway
all the time. But since he was a kid we brought in, then it's
right. And it's just we're just so quick sometimes to just absolutely burn someone. And it's like I've seen comments that like you can tell he can't even kick a ball. He's got no quality to be on a team like Benfica. This, that, and the other thing. And it's just like, dude, you've seen him for 50 minutes. Like, are we that ignorant that we as non-professional athletes, right, sitting behind a TV watching the game, are that ignorant to say that we watched 50 minutes of one game, and again in an interesting circumstance, to say he's not good enough? And like Jay said, right, how many of us sat here and criticized Carreras last year, right? I was one of them. How many of us sat here and criticized Kokshu last year? Right? There was many of us, right? Like, and the list can, not me, right? But again, but I criticized Carreras, right? I said there were certain moments that he looked, very, very green, and he looks much better this season. So I would like to see 5, 6, 7 games out of him to see if he can kind of come into himself, gain a little bit of confidence, and show us what he's got. I mean, he played at Luton last year, right? So he's got experience, right? He played in the Premier League. He's got experience. He's played at Marseille. He's 23 years old. He's a Manchester City product. So I'm not in favor of the, let's torch him and say he's not good enough, he sucks, this, that, and the other thing. I think we need more time. Again, opinions are opinions, but it just drives me crazy that we're so fast sometimes to just burn people out. Quickly, MVPs. I believe did Atakloglu got the MVP, I think, for that game.
Was it him or Kokshu?
Oh no, it was Di Maria. Di Maria got the UEFA Man of the Match award. Bill, who would you give it to?
For me, I mean, it's repetitive, but Kokshu. Again, I think I'm basing it more off of the first half, right? Because that second half, we didn't really possess, and Red Star didn't do much to get any of their players in the limelight. But again, I think Kokshu, in that role that he has been playing in, is dictating the pace of play, dictating how we're playing, and again, the worldly of a free kick, just a cherry on top.
Oscar?
Oh boy. Any of those. I mean, Di Maria does deserve it. I thought that the guy at 36, what is he right now? 36, played like a young fella, man. He ran his ass off. He keeps impressing me at Benfica, and I like Kokshu. I thought Kokshu had a good game. Well, free kick and so on, but first half he was kind of quiet. But Di Maria, to me, I think he was defensively and attacking. He was phenomenal. I think Di Maria deserves it.
Wow, Oscar picking Di Maria. That's a shocker to me.
I like I never did not like Di Maria. I just didn't.
I love your.
I also never
smirk.
said you didn't like him either. I'm just shocked that you picked him. That's all.
Yeah, Di Maria was great.
I love Jay's smirk when he said Di Maria.
João Mario's not there anymore, so what the hell do I pick?
You always got Freddie to lean on. I would go with Kareem. I thought I'm not even gonna bother pronouncing his last name. I'm not gonna pull an Oscar.
Artukoglu. I got it. I practice all week.
He said Rollheiser properly earlier too. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I think I don't practice. No, don't tell me to say the right back because that one I haven't practiced yet.
That's what he was late because he was like pronouncing it before the show started.
Yeah, that's why he was late. He was practicing in the mirror.
But I would go with Kareem. I think his early goal and I think overall his presence throughout the game, playing, defending, I thought he hustled a lot. But you can't go wrong with either Coxu or Di Maria either. They thought they played well as well. But I would go with Kareem.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he, not just scoring that first goal, he gives us a different element of creativity and directness, and him coming over to the right-hand side to help Cabore in that second half, I think was fundamental for us to take a breath and somehow get a little bit more possession back. So I think defensively he put in an incredible shift and was extremely important to what we were able to come out of that game with the 3 points. After that win, we move on to Boavista away, a match that's typically difficult. Boavista is going through some tough times. They've had 4 transfer windows where they have not been able to sign anyone. Financially, they are in incredible amounts of debt. They had salaries that were owed. One could ask, how does the league allow a club to be in the first division, given the situation that they're in? I think it's a valid question. I know Boavista is a historic club in Portuguese football, but I mean, it's I can't make sense of the fact that they're allowed to be in the first division, but that's a conversation for another day. They had makeshift lineup. It felt like Benfica was playing against a second division team or a juniors team. Their goalie's 16
Sunday
17.
League.
Yeah, they're and they've had a little bit of misfortune too. Their only center back that was available, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he got hurt, so he was unavailable. Their 2 goalies tore their knee ligaments the same practice like a week and a half ago, right? Like that's just on top of everything else. Your house is burning, right? And it's just like, the trees around it just fall on top of it just to finish it off. I mean, does it get any worse than that? So Benfica goes with Trubin. Tomás Araújo comes in on the right-hand side. Ba was not available. Antonio Silva, Tamendi, Carreras. Di Maria, Florentino, Auschnes comes back in. Coxu, Artukoglu, and Pavlidis. So Auschnes comes in for Rollheiser. Tomás Araújo comes in for Ba, who was injured. Jay, I'll start with you. I know you mentioned Tomás Araújo previously. He ended up having a good game, but the way I look at this is, for me, in a way I applaud Bruno Lage, because the way I interpret this is, in a way, he's protecting Cabore's mental state, in my opinion, right? He had a tough game in Serbia. You have a player, Tomás Araújo, who isn't a right back, but has played there before. And, given the context of the adversary that you're going to go against, I feel like if he had tossed Cabore in there again and he had a little bit more difficulty, I feel like mentally, psychologically, it's going to take a toll on him. And that's the last thing you want to do right now, given he's early stage at the club. But what were your thoughts on that change? And then what were your thoughts on the game?
I think Bruno Lage hit it on the head on the starting 11. I think that's probably our strongest lineup without Ba, obviously. But I think you hit it. You hit the nail on the head. I think he was kind of protecting him. Didn't have that well of a good game in Champions League. So having him to sit and go through practice and go through a few more reps during the training session would probably boost his confidence a little bit higher. But as far as the starting lineup, I think Lage hit it on the head. Just my opinion. I don't know how anyone else feels, but I think that was the lineup to put out, and I think we actually played really well overall in that game.
I agree, and I think it also gives us like defensive protection on that side with Di Maria, right? That him having a defender right there, plus Freddie playing more on that right side, I think covers for Di Maria, so he doesn't have to do a ton of that work defensively, which I think is in the long run, right, is going to help Di Maria.
I also
fairness,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Just to add, I also thought Tomas Araujo deserved minutes as well. I think he had a pretty good preseason. I think he's kind of ready to kind of take a step. So giving him minutes playing, even just playing the right back, it's just boosting his confidence as well. And giving him playing time so he can still be in top form in case an injury does happen in the center back position.
And I thought he had a decent game. I'm gonna take a card out of Oscar's book on this one. While he had a good game, I also think from a defensive perspective, he wasn't really tested, right? Boavista didn't really do much. So in fairness, right, I think, again, he had a decent game. I don't think he played, out of his mind. On the other side of the field, I thought Carreras had a really good game, coming out playing, coming out of pressure, joining the attack. But again, he's a completely different type of player than Tomas Araujo is. Oscar, what's your take on this?
See,
the game
even though like I love seeing you guys agreeing with Lage because we never agree on Roger. So seeing this kind of new thing.
That's not true. We did a couple of times.
We did.
Yeah, new
that
Lage,
first season.
New trend.
We're all in agreement.
Situation with Lage, and they hitting on the nail. Come on, keep those are so fucking good to hear, man. Just keep coming. I love hearing that. I'll take notes.
I'm gonna kick him out of the stream. I can't take this anymore.
I love it.
I just love it. I love it. But you know what? For a game like against Boavista, where we knew that the troubles they're going through, the players that they have available, I think this would have been a good opportunity to give the Cabaret a shot and be like, hey, listen, I trust you. I think you're worth this. And because you said it, Mike, Araujo was not tested defensively. This would have been a good opportunity to lift up his morale and kind of give him confidence. So we knew Boavista what they were bringing to the table, right? Maybe we're playing away. Maybe we don't want to get into that situation and leave points on the table. But we knew kind of what we're going in against when we play Boavista with this squad that they have going on, right? I would have put Araujo on Otamendi's spot. Be like, you know what, Otamendi, you need to sit down for a game because that was a fucking brain fart that you had, and you deserve to sit down on the bench for this next game. And Araujo, Antonio Silva, Carreras, and Cabaret right on the back. They're not going to be tested defensively as much.
You had to ruin it. We were all in agreement, and then this guy comes in here and just fucking throws a banana.
Always needs to be the pessimist.
I'll be honest with you. Otamendi pissed me off that game. I watched it 3 times. I pissed me off. And to me, for a veteran to do that, I would the next game be like, you know what, we should go in for him, give him a break. He needs to kind of clear his head. Maybe get his head off the Olympics.
That's why we are sitting in front of our computers on a Tuesday night doing a podcast and not sitting in a training room with the team that we coach.
That's true.
We're not built for decisions like that.
Yeah, but the thing is, we have and Jay said this. Well, no, I think it was Bill. Freddie playing in front of him gives him that extra help. So to build his morale, there's nothing better than having a Freddie in front of him that can cover you when you need it. And to me, it would just been a good opportunity to give the kid a chance to be like, listen, we trust you. You are in this team because we trust you.
I mean, I think he could have brought him on
early,
like that second half.
In the 88th minute.
Yeah, like he could have easily done it because we go up. Like he could have done it at halftime because we were up. We were controlling the game. We knew what Boavista was doing at that point. Nothing was surprising us. So he could have easily brought him on and had, like I mentioned, the coverage with Fred there would have helped. And I think it would have boosted his confidence. I think he could have done that. Starting him, I'm okay with him starting Tomas. But he could have brought him in a lot earlier.
Yeah, I think giving up the fact we were up 2-0 at halftime, 31 minutes in, again, Boavista wasn't creating much. I think I would have expected to see him come in, in the 70th minute, 75th minute, just to give him a little bit longer. He came in the 88th minute, so he didn't really get many minutes. But
does the 3 subs, three times to make subs apply for the league as well, or just for Champions League?
The league.
Yeah.
So he did do.
I think that's like a
well.
FIFA UEFA law, like across the board.
So, but I actually meant to look it up, and I didn't. I forgot. But if someone in the chat knows, if the other team is making a change, and you make a change, does that also count as one of your three? I would assume so. Because if not, I would.
Yeah.
Right. Like I would wait for them to make a change. Like I'm not going to use my chances. I'm going to use theirs.
On yours. Yeah. No, I think it does.
Gotta be that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Another thing, another thing that so both Cabaret and Cabral, I think Cabral deserves minutes, man. I think he's been coming really well. I think he's a big presence in the front, and you could tell, man, that the guy's hungry. He's really hungry to show what he can do, and coming in, scoring the goal, you could see that he was sad. People hit him on the head, kind of celebrating. He was just walking back like nothing, you know. Like I want him to kind of come in a little earlier and you know show that we.
Yeah, he's another one that probably could have came in earlier, but he made changes in the 71st minute. Amdouni came in for Aktürkoğlu, and then 78th minute Barreiro and Prestiani came in for Di Maria and Auschwitz, and then 10 minutes later he ended up making the last changes, which were Cabral and Cabaret coming in for Araújo and Pavlidis. But I agree.
Yeah,
I think he could.
He came in hurt, right? He came out a little hurt, banged up.
Yeah, like a black
he got
eye.
punched in the eye. He got a black eye. Yeah.
And then Tomás Araújo also
cramped up
with a knock. That guy, and that's going to be his downfall. I think. I hope not. Every game he plays, he always has some sort of muscle knock or something. It happened earlier in the season. He played against the
first two games.
Played.
I think it was the first two games
he played. Yes, and then the next game he ended up same thing, and it just. I don't know. So I think it'll be interesting to see, and we'll talk about it. But if he does have a knock, and if Bas not available, does Cabaret start at home against Gilby Sint? Might be an opportunity at home in your own stadium, a little bit more motivating environment for you, potentially a good opportunity. But we'll get to that. Wanted to ask you guys, and Jay touched on a little bit, but I'll throw it to you, Oscar. That midfield trio of Tino, Kokshu, and Auschwitz, do you think that's the best balanced midfield triangle that we have? If everyone's fit?
If everybody's fit, yeah, that's the trio that gives you the most guarantees, I believe. I think if Kokshu frees Kokshu to be more attacking minded, with Arsener's doing the box to box type of play, which he can do anything on that field. And Tino can be more concentrating on destroying the opposition, right? I think that's the most balanced trio that we have that can help us both defensively and attacking. So now, do I think we have pieces in the midfield like Rollheiser?
Almost.
Rollheiser coming in and kind of changing up the game when we need to. I think he has that capability. But I think balance wise, I think that's the best trio that we have.
I don't see how, if Mikey said if healthy, I don't see how Renato Sanchez is not part of that three, in my opinion.
But who do you take out?
Who do you take out?
I would probably take out Tino.
Whoa!
I mean, if we're going,
you just said you have to pick. I'm a big Tino guy.
Hold on.
I'm a big Tino guy.
That's why I'm surprised.
9:15.
You have to pick the best three. It would be Freddie, Renato, and Kokshu.
Listen,
and I'm
a big Tino guy. I'm a huge Tino guy.
That's my midfield trio in FIFA, but
yeah,
in real life,
you said real life.
Yeah.
And if anyone's
healthy,
Jay,
it's very hard.
Listen, I can give you. I got to give you props for that because I'm not surprised by who you took out, because if I would exactly, that's why I'm more surprised that he was at least level-headed enough to be able to just make that call, knowing that of those three, Tino's 100% his favorite of those three options. So the fact that he's willing to take him out, put Renato in, that's as hot a take as it gets.
You said the best three when
if Renato's healthy, that.
I'll tell you this: if Renato's healthy, he's probably the best midfielder we have.
Dude, but wait a minute, wait. Renato to me is not, but you're gonna be putting who at defensive midfield? Renato or Freddie?
No, it'd have to be Fred, I would assume.
You would put.
Wait a second. Hey, I want to go back to remarks. Didn't he last week say that Tino needed to be on the bench, and now he's giving me shit because
he did. He's bringing receipts.
This guy's
bringing receipts.
Jason, he goes married tanks and new tank.
Get out of here. Mildews.
Dude,
look at the hot take comment section lit up.
Yeah, dude. I think we need to mark this time. 9:15. He said,
clip it.
I'm gonna clip it. Clip it.
Yes.
But listen, I love Florentino. I think, like I mentioned,
not love enough.
I do love him. I think he's the best trinker we got. But like, if I'm gonna like Bill said, if you're on FIFA and you're setting up the best team, sorry, Tino's gonna go on the bench and Renato's gonna start.
Yeah,
and
dude.
I would probably put Freddie as a trinker and move Renato to the box to box.
We're talking our most balanced.
Balance, yeah. We have to play balance.
Like you said, if you have to pick, if you pick balance, I still go with those three.
Damn.
That's just my opinion.
Okay.
I mean,
I love Tino. Don't get me wrong.
No, you don't. He probably listened to this and he's telling you to fuck right off.
He's gonna slide in your DMs and tell you to fuck off.
Oscar's just saying that because he knows that if it ever came to João Mario having to come out, Oscar wouldn't concede.
No,
I'd find someone else.
He would die on that hill. No chance.
Last year I said João Mario could have been benched 100% anytime.
I know. I was just joking. Oscar would be like, nope, we'll fucking take Truby now. I'm not taking João Mario.
Go play goal.
Hey,
we don't need a goalie.
With if Renato is healthy and he plays, what I think will happen is he'll use Freddie as a wing.
I don't.
I would agree with
I don't
that,
think.
but
I don't think he'll move Freddie out wide.
I don't think. But he would.
I don't think we see Freddie out wide anymore.
It would be tough for Freddie to start as a winger now.
And I don't know if you guys watched Rui Costa's interview today, but he almost hinted to that as well, as the fact that the players that we brought in with Amdouni being able to play wide, Rollheiser, Sheldrup, Aktukoglu. He also hinted saying, it frees up Auschnitz to play in his natural position. And for me, I feel like that was an indicator that that's the goal, is to have him play in that position that we brought him to Benfica to play, versus having to have him play out of position. Although he can play that. Danny says Renato's never going to be healthy. Move along. That's one of the things that I feel like, right? Like we always have this thought process of if Renato's healthy, and it's is Renato going to be healthy long enough to be able to have consistency? And I feel like I'm hopeful, right? Because he's a Benfica product, and we've seen that if he's fit, he can be valuable. The thing is if he is going to be fit, for how long is he going to be fit? I feel like is the bigger question after
he can't be fit long enough to get form.
Not only is he hurt all the time, is it takes a couple of games to get back in rhythm after you get healthy. So right there, you're losing 5, 6, 7 games of him playing as a top.
And can he last that long?
Yeah. So
it's to then get fit. I'll let you.
Those are all valid takes, and I agree with every single one of you. But if we're talking healthy,
no, I can agree with that. Based on
really tough.
I think it unbalances the team a ton.
In certain games. I think for most games, I think it'd be fine.
And even in my opinion, even if you don't take out Tino, I would probably start him over Freddie. I'm talking if you want to balance, it's really tough for me to think that someone, if healthy, the only one I feel that could probably compete is Coxu, but I've seen more out of Freddie, out of Renato over Coxu. But if I would have to, it's really tough for me to leave Renato, if healthy, off that trio. Regardless if you take out Tino, if you take out
what I've seen from Renato as of late, he's not a positional guy. He's an all over the place type of guy. He reminds me of João Neves last year, where you legit was on every place in the field.
He's that box to box
and leaves gaps.
Just let him run around.
He leaves a lot of gaps behind him and in front of him, so he's all over the place. He attacks the striker or the defender, the goalie, and then he leaves all the gaps behind. He's a João Neves, almost a grown-up João Neves, and João Neves was great, believe me, but he left a lot of gaps behind him.
Yeah, Mikey says, my hot take, I think Di Maria should be on the bench and Rollheiser should start. I think this is a crazy hot take.
I think Mike needs sleep.
Yeah,
that's a real hot take.
Yeah. That's a cold take for me.
Yeah,
this is.
I think it could happen with Di Maria, and I'm liking to see this Di Maria coming out the 70-something minute. Like that's more or less where I draw the line for Di Maria. I think he at the 70th, 75th minute, take him out, save his legs, because he's not going to be a player that'll last like the season like what he did with Roger, because that was a once in a lifetime season that he had. Like I don't think I've ever seen Di Maria play a whole season.
That was the most minutes he's ever played.
That was statistically his longest.
Yeah. So we need to save his legs. He is our most crucial player when it comes to being decisive. I think Di Maria is that player. So we need to save him. And I think coming out the 70th minute, 71st minute, around that time is where he needs to be. And that gives a Rollheiser like 20 minutes plus to kind of show himself and gain those minutes, more and more minutes.
Yeah, and we have those.
I don't think Rollheiser sees those minutes for Di Maria, in my opinion, anyways.
I don't think Rollheiser will play wide. I think the Amdunis, the Sheldrups, Stianis will see the minutes out wide. I think Rollheiser will be more central.
Houdini, I can't pronounce that dude's name. Houdini. I feel like he's came into the game. He's came into the game better. Like he's ready. I feel like
he looks like he's ready to take his chance in the starting 11. The question is who's he going to replace? But we'll talk about that right now. Quickly before we wrap this up, who Bill MVP for this game?
It's me on repeat. Koksu again. I think like. You can go Di Maria. You can go. I mean, Pavlidis had a good game in my opinion. Got his goal.
He got a goal.
Dude, he got the goal. Although I wasn't concerned with him not scoring goals because I think the work he does off the ball and for the team is massive. Kerem again, another good game. Should have probably had 2 goals.
Yeah, he could have.
For me,
absolutely.
Oh, that chip! He should have definitely put that away.
The chip in the first half when Di Maria passed him the ball too. He should have had that too.
And Pavlidis had that one that went off the post, saved by the offsides.
He's got to put that away.
Yeah, but he's got to.
Pavlidis' goal. Kareem took on 3 defenders.
He did.
Got him in there. So he.
But there he is. We talked about Pavlidis not getting the ball and goal scoring opportunities, and the one chance he got, he was there. Right, it ends up being a tap-in, but he was there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, as part of the striker position, you got to be in the right spot.
Correct. Oscar, MVP.
Yeah, I think Artukoğlu had another great game. I think he deserves. He could have scored the second chip, the goal that he put over the bar, but I think he was in the right spots. Like that fake to get a Pavlidis' goal. Like getting through those defenders, it showed a little bit of like his how much of a stud he is when it comes to how much potential that kid has. So I think I'd give it to him.
Jay,
to me, it was between the 2 Turkish guys. I thought Koksu has been playing really well. Scored another goal from outside the box. I just thought if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Kareem. He was more involved on the offensive side. I know he missed a couple chances. He did create for Pavlidis' goal to get the early lead. I think that was huge for us. But you just see how he impacts the game. He takes his spots and he takes his chances, and I would go with him.
I'm gonna go with Koksu. I think just his distribution playing in that hybrid 8/10 role. He's dictating the pace of the game. He looks a lot more confident, a lot more comfortable. I don't know if it was an adaptation thing. I don't know if it was the tactical requirements that he had with Roger Schmidt versus what Bruno Lage is giving him now, or if maybe it's a turning of a page and he feels, it's a new chapter and he's able to kind of start from fresh. I don't know. But again, I was maybe his biggest defender last season, and he didn't have that great of a season. He had a couple of moments here and there, and I feel like now we're finally starting to see the player that was voted best player of the Eredivisie the year that he left. So I will give it to him, and shout out to Artukoğlu with 2 assists. I thought he only got 1, but he got 2 assists. So despite not scoring, he was involved in both goals. So again, this kid has hit the ground running. He's 25. The ground running, quite impressive for his first 3 games as a Benfica player. But let's keep it rolling. Saturday we take on
real quick.
Yeah.
Before we move on, 1 or 2 PKs in that Boavista game.
Oh, yeah. I think both are PKs.
Dude, 100% both.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
The Di Maria one is like not even debatable.
100%. Yeah. The other one, it's like a bang bang type of thing.
The goalie misses his timing and he lands with his knee on his foot.
Yeah.
Pavlidis makes a meal of it, but there's contact, right? Like there's 100%. No such thing as we can say it's soft or not soft, right? But like a penalty is a penalty. Either there's a foul for it or there's not.
Right.
And he falls on his foot. He should have got the call, but the Di Maria one for me is like astonishing. How the hell
how VAR doesn't intervene is beyond me. It only shows how corrupt the system is.
I've said it in our group chat. VAR in Portugal hasn't fixed anything. It just shows you replays of all the errors. Like that's all it is. It just keeps showing you multiple replays of them allowing things like this to go on.
It's brutal. I couldn't understand how they. Fortunately, we didn't need it, right?
No,
but
I know. But
hold on, I want to run through some of these comments quickly before we jump over to the Shall We Sit game quickly. Let's see, which one did we talk? Mikey says Tino against Red Star covered the most field out of anybody on both teams, a 98% pass percentage and plenty of key tackles. Ain't no way, Tank. SLBS is the best mid unless Renato doesn't meet expectations. Hard to say who will come out for him. Rui says because Tino has been struggling, and that's because of the lack of balance on the other two midfielders. I do think Tino can get exposed, but I do also think that in the last 2 games he's played well, at least from the defensive side of the ball, right? And we all praise the Fejas of the world and the Matiches of the world and the Javi Garcias of the world, and let's not kid ourselves, right? Especially Feja. He was one of those guys that would just destroy the game and then get rid of it. I don't want the ball. I'm going to stop what they're doing. I'm going to give it to you, and you do what you got to do with it. I'm just here to disrupt the other team. And I feel like Tino does that well. He is getting a little bit more adventurous in some of the long balls, and he did it against Red Star. He did it against Boavista again yesterday, and he has improved in that aspect. But if he sticks to his bread and butter, which is just be disruptive, anticipate, destroy their game, let someone else do the distribution after the fact, I think he's super, super helpful to the team. It's just a matter of, can he continue to maintain that profile and not kind of stretch himself too thin. Rui says enough hypotheticals, Jay. Unfortunately, Renato's new mentor is always hurt. Unfortunately, at the moment, that's what he is.
Yep.
Hopefully he can come in and do what Mentores did and win us a title. That would be nice. SLBS says on form Renato is Rafa mix with John Neves. I don't know if I see that, but I can agree with it. Rui says Rollheiser doesn't have the speed to be a winger. It's fair. I mean, Auschnitz was playing on the wing, and he's not fast. Jomariu had his best season on the wing, and he's not fast. Pizzi's not fast. So I think it's just more about the tactical approach and what space you're occupying while you're playing in that position. Rui says the Di Maria only, the Tomas fouled the defender. So I saw that they called a foul against the against Tomas Araujo, but I didn't see the replay. I didn't see him foul. I didn't see that replay. So maybe
I thought they called a foul against Pavlidis.
That's what I thought too. But I had also heard some commentary about fault offensive with Tomas Araujo, but it didn't show the highlights. So maybe I have to go back and look at it. But regardless, at least one for sure. Mikey Singh thinks there's 2. Pedro Moreira also agrees there's 2. All right, we move on to Gil Vicente quickly. I just want kind of a quick recap. Rui says foi bloqueio by Araújo. Fair. So let's just say there's one guaranteed penalty that wasn't called. Benfica takes on Gil Vicente at the weekend at home. The Gil Vicente side that's won 1 game this season in 6. They lost opening game against Porto. They beat AVS at home 4-2, and then they've drawn their last 4. 0-0 against Estoril, against Braga, and they tied 1-1 against Famalicão and 1-1 against Casa Pia. So apart from the AVS game that they won 4-2, a newly promoted side, they're not scoring many goals. They also haven't conceded many goals apart from the Porto game, 0s and 1 in the last 2 games. So Benfica comes into this obviously on a high, winning 3 in a row. To note that of the next 6 games Benfica has, 1 of them is away from home. So we've got 5 games of our next 6 at home, which I think is pretty massive. If you want to build momentum and you want to get confidence, this is like the time to do it. Now, We've got Gil Vicente at home. We've got a tough game at home against Atletico Madrid for the Champions League next week. We go away to Nacional for the Campeonato, and then we're home against Feyenoord. We're home against Rio Ave, and then we're home against Santa Clara for the Taça Liga. Those are our next 6 games. Bill, I'll start with you. What are your expectations? And just give me 60 seconds. What are your expectations of the starting 11? Do you think he makes any changes? And expectations for the game, given the opponent?
For the starting 11, we've touched on it. I've touched on it multiple times. I don't think there's enough time between games for him to implement a ton. And again,
well, this game games, he's got a little bit more time.
He's got more. This way, actually, true. He's got a week. But I think momentum is our biggest thing right now, right? And I think keeping that momentum going, keeping the fans behind us, keeping the positive results going is massive for us. So the only potential change I could see maybe is Cabore. Again, if Ba is out, which I haven't even seen if he's back in training, and if Tomás is hurt, does he give the kid a shot there, or does he put, like Oscar said, I think it was Oscar, put Freddie back there? For me, that's the only potential change I could see. But I would be willing to bet we see a lineup like we saw at Boavista, where, especially if Ba's not back. If Ba's back in training, then I think Ba slots in and that right back. But I think it's a game we, at home, control, possess, and should be. I would like to see a big Chapa Cinco type win to just keep the momentum going right now. Good result against Boavista, but I think if we can get a big solid win against Gil Vicente at home, again, just keeps the momentum going and the fanfare behind us.
They've beat us 2 of the last 5 times at home. We beat them 3-0, 3-1, lost 2-1, lost 2-1, and beat them 2-0. So they had some decent history with us at the Estádio de Luz. Oscar, what are your thoughts?
I was just looking at the results, and I mean, they tied us 3 away after the beating AVS. Braga tied Braga at home, and then tied Famalicão away, which beat us 2-0, and then now tied Casa Pia. Those are not easy games, I don't think. So, like, Gil Vicente's not going to be a walk in the park, even though we're playing at home. We're not going to be a walk in the park. I don't think we make a lot of changes. I think we go in with a strong 11. And I think the team that we started off, if Va's healthy, then put Ba in. But other than that, I think that's the strongest team we've got, and I think that's who we have to go with. I think if we do get a good, lead in the first half, we need to save our legs because we have a tough game against Atletico Madrid in a few days after that. So we do need to save our legs. But we need to go in strong, get a goal or 2, and then start taking those guys out.
Jay?
See, Mike, I would stick with the same lineup, but I'm thinking that we are going to have a nice little blowout this weekend. I'm already kind of predicting that. I think we're going to come out. I think probably going to get 4 or 5 this weekend. I just have a feeling.
I like it.
I like how we're playing. I like how the momentum is starting to go on our side, and I hope it's 3-0 by halftime so we can kind of go do Oscar's formula where we start subbing guys out in the 60th minute to save them for the Wednesday game against Madrid.
I think, I don't envision many changes. I do think that there's a possibility, and again, this is just my opinion. I would probably take Di Maria out and bring Amdouni in. Home game, he's looked hungry. Give Di Maria a break from the start and then bring him in final 20-25 minutes.
I can see that.
But it being a home game, I think creates an environment for Amdouni to come in. It's a more favorable environment for the team in general, being that it's at home. So I think if there was an opportunity to make that change to give him some time off his legs, I think this would be that game to give him that opportunity. But apart from that, I think Ba and Tomás Araújo is probably the other question mark. Again, could he bring Cabore in? I don't know if he's ready yet to start, right? I think the environment maybe favors him, but then potentially could be a demoralizer for Tomás Araújo, right? Like I came in and saved you and started against Boavista, and now you take me out. But he's also been in and out. So I would say the bigger question mark for me is Amdouni and Di Maria. But I'm hopeful that, we do get a comfortable lead and we're able to rotate and bring some of these other guys in, like the Sheldrups of the world and the Prestianis, and give them some minute. And the Turcabrals, right? Give him more than 7 minutes to run around.
Yeah, I mean, after scoring a goal, I think he deserves to come in a little earlier, kind of get his momentum going.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's 6 minutes, 5 minutes. There was people that used to criticize for bringing someone in for 2 minutes, but we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there.
New page, Mike. New chapter. Come on.
Yeah, it's a new chapter. Yeah, it's a new page. The speakers might be broken, but we're not going to go there.
I think it went over his head. It went over his head.
What do you guys say? Boris, benfiquismo in English, of course. Aqui fala-se inglês, fala-se em português. Amanhã temos o podcast em português moderado pelo Luís, por isso, se quiser ver o podcast em português com painel diferente, esteja à vontade amanhã.
O Oscar até fala alemão.
E o Oscar fala alemão. Fala
alemão e Turkish.
He's learning Chinese.
I knew Roger's language when he came to Benfica. I knew he's going to suck.
All right, to close this off, we're going to do a blind ranking, 1 through 5. You don't know who's coming next. You tell me where you're going to put them. I'm going to make notes of it. All right, I'm going to start with Jay because that's who I wrote down first on the piece of paper. We're going with left backs. So I isolated it to positions because it's easier to rank them. So starting with Leo, where do you put him, Jay?
One is the best and 5 is the worst.
Yeah, so 1 is who you think is the best, but you don't know who's coming next. So you got to kind of.
This is all Benfica, right?
All Benfica and all left backs. So make it easier for you.
Oh, left backs.
Yeah, Leo.
2.
All right, Bill.
Go 3.
Oscar.
I loved them, but we had some pretty good ones.
No, I think I'm with Jay on this one too.
All right, I'll go backwards now. Cicada, Oscar.
Oh fuck, Cicada's there too.
Cicada was good.
He was good, but I'll put him at 3.
Bill.
Don't do it, Bill. He's thinking 4.
I am because there's 2 in my head that I'm like, if those come, those are easily my 1 and 2. Yeah, I gotta go 4.
All right, Jay.
I'm with Oscar at 3.
I'm gonna fuck myself. I know it.
Eliseu.
Oscar Grimaldo.
Ooh, I should have.
But Leo, I think Leo showed more than him at the Grimaldo. Fuck, his last season could be our number 1, but I'm gonna put him. I have to put him number 4.
Bill.
You're crazy. 2.
Well, I'm between 2 and 1 right now. Okay, I'm gonna go 2. I'm between 2 and 1, but I'll leave my 1 spot.
You're waiting for Fabio.
Yeah.
Jay.
I'm gonna put him 1.
Ooh. All right, Jay. I'm starting with you.
I'm just hoping you don't say Fabio Contral.
Fabio Contral.
Oh, you're a dick.
He's on my list. I had him typed up before, so I didn't even pull it out of that.
4. But he should be number 1.
So you think Fabio is worse than Leo, Grimaldo?
To be honest, right now, I really like Bill's list right now because
Bill.
Bill
number 1.
Oscar.
1.
And last but not least, Bill, I'll start with you. Eliseu.
I got 5.
He
could be a little higher, but
so he's 5.
I love
for all
him
you
just
guys.
for the Benfica. Like he loved Benfica.
I was about to say that what Pedro just said. Just for the best play, he deserved like a 1, but he said
yeah.
Boris says, "Where are you guys? Still, I'm in Boston, or me, Bill, and Jay are in the Boston area. Oscar is from the area, but he lives in Florida now. He couldn't handle the cold weather, so he went down south. Pedro Moreira Eliseo, just for the Vespa moment, deserves one too.
He should be a little higher just because.
So let's just recap the list. Jay's list is Grimaldo, Leo, Siqueira, Coentrão, Eliseo. That Coentrão curveball threw you off.
Bill's called it right before.
Literally, I had him typed out too. I was gonna throw in.
He was like, "You're waiting for Coentrão."
I was gonna throw in some like shitty guys in there to throw. But I'm like, no, I'm gonna go with 5 like top guys and see how this plays out. Bill's list was Coentrão, Grimaldo, Leo, Siqueira, Eliseo.
I think Bill's list is good.
Might be the best one. Oscar's was Coentrão, Leo, Siqueira, Grimaldo, Eliseo. I can't believe Oscar put Grimaldo 4th.
I couldn't put him in first.
I mean, you could. He was the 3rd one out. You could have put him wherever.
Yeah, but I had second.
Problem was, you already had 2 and 4.
Yeah,
or 2 and 3 used. Yeah.
Pedro says Eliseo was here at Toronto Portugal Day Parade this year on a red Vespa. He was. Yeah, Pedro, are you in Toronto? My cousin is. I think he's the president right now of the Casa Toronto. John DaCosta. If you're in Toronto, and we've got a follower here, Sergio is from Toronto. He's a big follower of ours as well. I don't remember his last name. He's just bald. I know that. He's been on the podcast once or twice too. But I'm sure you know who he is. All right. Wrapping up. Big game this weekend. Again, 5 of the next 6 are at home. So big opportunity here for Benfica to build some momentum, get some players on the field. We've got the Taça Liga coming up. We've got Champions League football. Next 2 Champions League games are at home. I will be across the pond. I leave Saturday evening. I will be heading over to Lisbon. I will be at the Atletico Madrid match. Hopefully, I've yet to see a win in my season tickets.
Then why you don't?
If you don't get one in this one, then
don't go again.
I might have to sit in someone else's seat.
I already told you, you're the fucking jinx.
It's got to break at some point, right? I mean,
I'd rather break without you being.
Yeah, why don't you go to like a?
You need to go to like a Benfica Alves game. Like you need to go to one of those. Start off small.
Why don't you go watch like the game at Fatima?
Yeah.
Have the phone while you're on your knees praying.
Yeah, maybe I'll go to church before I go to the game or something. I got to figure something out. Something's not working out. But yeah, I'll be there next week. Hopefully it's with a W. That'd be good. Don't forget to check us out on the various social media platforms. Go ahead.
Sorry, the electrical game is when? What day?
Wednesday. Okay. Yeah. Don't forget to check us out on the various social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, all of them. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, follow, all that fun stuff. We appreciate it. If you're listening after the fact on the audio version or watching on the video version after the fact as well, leave your comments. Let us know what you're thinking. We address all of the comments on all of our platforms, so please feel free. And also, I wanted to leave one thought to everyone. If there's any type of content that you would like to see us push out, whether that's graphics, video content, leave us your thoughts. I know that I try to make it a point to look across the various social media platforms and see what other content creators are doing and how we can kind of do something similar or kind of make it our own. It's tough, right? We all have full-time jobs, and it's not easy to, pull away and find time, but, I appreciate all of us being able to find a little bit of time between family and work and all of the personal things. So it's always a positive, and it's obviously positive because you guys are listening and watching on the other side and enjoying the conversation. But if there's any content that you guys think would be valuable, that you think would make sense for us to push out, or you have any recommendations or feedback, we're welcome to that. So send us a message, leave us a comment. We would love to hear your thoughts, but we've got some ideas coming out in the coming weeks. Hopefully you like it, but open to your feedback and thoughts. Oscar, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I one comment that I have is I think last year we did it, and I think it worked out. And it might be a little bit more work for you, but like having the highlights show up when we talk about them, I think it was a good.
Well, like the thing that sucks with that is that it ends up getting copywritten and blocked.
Not if you block off the Sportive.
It got blocked already a couple of times. I don't know how they're capturing it, so I need to figure out a way that they don't capture it. But I agree. Like I would ideally like to have that running while we're talking through it, but it's just they end up blocking the whole stream. So then I got to go in after the fact and like blur that whole section for them to unblock it. It's a pain in the ass. But that's on my list to figure out how we can, use that option while not getting our videos copyright. And like at least YouTube, you can go in and block it. Facebook is just brutal. They're just like, it's blocked. You can't unblock it. So then basically the video is gone. I can't even get it back. So it's a slippery slope. But again, it's an opportunity for us to see if we can do something there that would help us be able to use that and leverage that without getting copyright by the TV providers. But
what about the home games? Will Benfica TV block it?
Yeah, they don't do it all. It's like hit or miss. I would say the Sport TV ones is like you can't get past it. It's brutal. Like I don't know what algorithm they've got scanning the internet, but it's just like it's consistent. The BitTV ones, I would say, out of every 10, maybe they'll block one. But the Sport TV ones are like literally within. Some of them are like within minutes. It's incredible how fast it is. So yeah, we'll look into that and see what we can do better there, but open to everyone's feedback and thoughts. Gentlemen, as always, a pleasure. Hopefully we get another W on Saturday. Oscar is loving these moments with his large balls, hashtag large balls, not large balls, hashtag large balls.
Yeah, this is more Benfica being more attacking minded. You know what I mean? Large balls. They actually have balls now instead of being a bunch of vaginas.
Jeez. Well, as always, gentlemen, a pleasure. We'll be back next week. We'll have some content next week at the game. Have a good evening, have a good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're listening and watching after the fact. Viva Sport Lisboa Benfica. See you next week, boys.
Leave it.